Today, your goal is to write equations of line or linear functions in standard form. So we have done point slope form, slope intercept form. The third one is the standard form. So same again on your reference chart, under the linear equations, you have slope intercept form. We are done with those, y equal mx plus b. Then we are also done with point slope form, y minus y1 equal mx minus x1. And then the third and the last one is the standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. So this is what we are working on today. So standard form is ax plus by equals c. Now, first thing you have to pay attention on for the standard form is that your variables are actually on the same hand side. So they are on the left hand side, x and y are your two variables. They are together on the left side. Then your one condition is a has to be a positive number. So this value of a has to be a positive number. It cannot be a decimal. So cannot be a decimal or fraction. Also, it cannot be a negative number. So it can't be -3. It has to be positive whole number. So it has to be a +1, +2, +3, 4, 5, but it will be a positive. A, B, and C are integers, so none of them are going to be a fraction or a decimal. So that's one of the other conditions as well. That means I cannot have any fractions. Okay, these are the steps. You can read those steps, but I do them a little differently over here, because the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to avoid my fraction. Okay, so that's how I make my life easy. I'm going to try to get rid of that fraction. The very first thing I'm going to do is, because it cannot have any fractions. Convert each equation into a standard form. So I have this equation, y equals 5x plus 2. Now, if you notice, this equation does not have a fraction, so which is good. Otherwise, I would have to do another step before I do anything. X and y needs to be on the same hand side. Okay, that means this x from the right needs to go on the other side. So this has to be canceled from here, which means opposite. So that means I would do 5x minus on both hand sides. If you want to make the train tracks, you're more than welcome to. But I think at this point, you would be able to do it without the train tracks. So subtract 5x, cancels it out. And I'm going to nicely copy whatever I'm left with over here. It should be -5x plus y equals 2. So it is similar to standard form, but it is not perfect. The reason is that ax, so write it out. It should be ax, so x has to be written in the front. Then plus by equals c. So it is matching, but it is not perfectly matching because a has to be a positive number. A has to be a positive number. That is the must thing that you would do. Now, how do I convert a negative number to a positive number? If I multiply that with the negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this whole thing by a -1. So that's what I'm going to do. And it's a simple distribution. I'm going to multiply and see what I have. -1 multiplied by -5 is positive 5x. So there you go. A is positive. So it's checked. This is correct. A is positive. Then I'm going to multiply this over here. There has to be a 1. So -1 multiplied by positive 1 is -1y. You don't have to really write that one, but just in case. Equal sign. And then I have to multiply that -1 with a 2 as well. So it becomes a -2. And there you go. That's my standard form of the equation. So this is reverse of what we were doing over here. So the same steps, it's just I'm going in the other hand side. So ax by equals c. Did I meet my conditions? Yes, my conditions were x and y needs to be together. Yeah, they are together. A needs to be a positive number. Yes, and there should not be any fraction or a decimal, which I do not have. I have integers and a positive whole number. So yes, I am good. This is my standard form. Example number 2. Y equals 2/5 x minus 4. Now, the first thing I have over there is I see a fraction. So I do not want to have a fraction over there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to identify the denominator or the least common multiple. So the least common multiple over here is 5. Sorry, I was just looking over here. So the least common multiple over here is a 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply each of the following above with a 5. So multiply all by 5. So I'm going to multiply all of that by 5. So what I'm going to do is that's for multiplication. I'm going to put 5 here, multiply by 5 here, and multiply by 5 here. So I'm going to multiply all of them by a 5 and write down my final answers over here at the bottom. So 5 multiplied by y is 5y, equal sign. 2/5 multiplied by x. Sorry, 2/5 multiplied by 5. So 2/5 multiplied by 5 is basically 2 whole. So it is 2x minus 4 times 5 is 20. Writing this way is very helpful because you are not going to forget to multiply by all of them, because you have to multiply by all. That is just that's just the thing with math. I have this equation. Now this one is similar to what we just did over here. So the steps are now same. So the first one should be x needs to be on the other side. So it should be minus 2x here and minus 2x over here. Notice I did not put x and y right under each other because I can't combine them. If you want to put a plus over here so that you know they are two different. Okay, they are not same terms. I cannot combine them. Draw a line. This is 0, and I have a negative 2x plus 5y equals negative 20. All right, I have my standard form, but a needs to be a positive number. A has to be a positive number. So this is negative. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply all of that by a negative 1. So my final answer should be 2x minus 5y and positive 20. And this is my standard form of the equation, which was y equals 2/5 x minus 4. The standard form will be 2x minus 5y equals 20. If you want to check whether you are correct or not, you know the process. Draw the line, subtract 2x, and divide by negative 5. It should match with this thing. All right. Pause over here and go ahead and do example number 3. First step, get rid of that fraction. Okay? And then just follow the steps from here. It should be fine. All right, on the back side is much easier because I actually have a multiple choice. So you have to do this process if there's no multiple choice, because I don't have any answer choice to pick from, so I have to do my steps. But if you have the multiple choice, then it's pretty much very easy. If you have multiple choice, then it's your lucky day and it's pretty much very easy. I have to write equation in the standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. The standard form is already given to me. It's one of the 4 that I have over here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in or substitute. I'm going to plug in x comma y values. I have the x value, which is 5, and I have the y value, which is negative 4, into the respective x and y values, and just make sure what do I solve it to? Okay, so I don't even need that information of the slope. So let's see, what do I get over here? So 3x minus 2y equals negative 23. I'm gonna check in here. So x value is 5 and y value is negative 4. I'm going to do the plug-in method. So put my parentheses and replace the number. X is 5, y is negative 4. And simple PEMDAS. 3 times 5 is 15. 2 times negative 2 times negative 4 is a positive 8. So 15 plus 8 is 23 positive, but the equation below said it should be negative. It's negative 23. That is not true. It is false. So this is not my answer. You would do the same for the next one. It's 3x minus 2y. So same as above. It has to be 23, but this one is negative 22. So that's false. 3x minus 2y equals 22. I calculated it to be 23, so that is false. It's not gonna work for this one. And this one says 23, so there you go. This one was true, and I have my answer. Now this is the plug-in method, okay? If you have multiple choice, this will work. If you don't have multiple choice, then you are stuck. What should you do? Then you actually have to do the steps. So I'm gonna do the example number 5 with the steps, and just so you can follow them. I have to write the equation in standard form that passes through 7,3 and has slope of negative 2/5. So I do not have the equation. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write the equation, and I have a point and I have a slope. That means the equation that I'm going to use is basically the point slope form, and then I'm gonna convert it to the standard form. That's what I'm gonna do. So your point slope form is y minus y1 equal m x minus x1. M is given to me as negative 2/5, and the point x1 comma y1 is basically 7,3. Okay. I'm gonna replace my numbers. So y minus y1 is 3, so I don't need parentheses. M is negative 2/5. X minus x1 is 7. So there you go. I have the point slope form of the equation. Now, point slope form of the equation, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna convert it to actually slope intercept form. So I distribute over here. That gives me negative 2/5 x, and minus 2 multiplied by 7 is positive 14. So it's positive 14 over 5. Now I am going to add 3, so you know these steps. I'm going to add 3 on both sides. So I'm left with y over here, negative 2/5 x, and I'm going to add over here the 3 and check what is my fraction. It is 29 over 5. I have a fraction. Both the denominators are 5, so my least common multiple is 5. So I'm going to multiply all of these 3 with a 5. So I'm going to multiply these with a 5. So when I multiply these with a 5, 5 times y is a 5y. Equal 5 cancels out 5, so I'm left with 2x here, plus 5 cancels out 5, so I'm left with 29 over here. This was the whole purpose of multiply by 5, because I would not have a denominator. It becomes 1. Okay, I have this equation in point slope form. Standard form means that 2 needs to go on the other side, so add 2x on both hand sides. It is 2x plus 5y equals 29. A is a positive value, So I don't have to do anything. I have a as a positive value. Everything is a whole number. There's no fraction. So that's my answer. So 2x plus 5y equals 29. There you go. C is my correct answer over here. So this is a little longer process. This is, you are going to be using this process only if you don't have a multiple choice. If you have a multiple choice, A, B, C, D, just use this plug-in method, and there you go. You will have the answer, and it's much easier and much faster. All right. So go ahead, finish the other question, and then we are going to work on the next one, which is writing equation in standard form. So writing equation in the standard form, if you notice, the standard form is written as ax plus by equals c. So your variables, you have two variables, x and y, and the variables are together, added up, or subtracted, equals to c. So in this case, c is basically the total. And ax would be something with the each, because just like slope, ax would be each, every, by is going to be the same situation over here. But c is always going to be the total. So first thing you're going to do is, after reading the whole word problem, I'm going to, number one, write our totals, and then secondly, I'm going to actually write our variables, because you have two different variables over here, and each one belongs to something, or each one represents something different. So always do the first reading. It says a customer paid a total $6 for copies at a copy shop. Each black and white copy costs 0.06, and each color copy costs 0.14. Write an equation that can be used to find all the combinations of B, the number of black and white copies, and C, the number of color copies the customer paid for at the copy shop. So how do I know that I have to write a standard form? The clue that I have is I have two different variables over here that I have to write for. So two different variables, that means it is going to be in the standard form, and I have one total. So this is going to be a standard form. So my C value, or the total, is actually, I'm going to use the word total because it's not, so total is $6. So this hand side of the equation is $6. That's my total cost. So this is my total cost. How did I end up getting a total cost? When I paid for colored copies and black and white copies. So B was black and white, and C is colored. That is my variables. Okay, now go back and read your question. You had cost of each colored and black and white. So it says each black and white was 0.06. So B for this situation is 0.06. Each means multiply by B. Same for the cost of color copies. Each color copy is 0.14. So 0.14 and multiply by C, that means each C. Cost is when I'm paying all of this together. So I should have 0.06B plus 0.14C equals the total cost, which is the $6. So if I have to break it down to explain you, this means each B copy, so that's the cost of each black copy, and this is each color copy, or C, and this is my total cost, which I already wrote. So pretty much easy. It's not that difficult. Identify your two variables, write them out, and then what is your total. And we are writing only one standard equation right now, so it's pretty straightforward. Example number 8 is similar to example number 6. So go ahead, pause the video over here and finish example number 8. I am going to help you with example number 7, and 9 is similar to that, so you should not have a problem. Example number 7 says, your class of 114 people is taking a trip to Austin. So my total is 144 because that's how much the class size is. I have 144 kids who are traveling to Austin. You can travel in small and large vans. A small van holds 8 people and a large van holds 12 people. Write an equation that can be used to find the possible combination of S, the number of small vans, and L, the number of large vans. So S is small van and L is large van. For S can hold 8 people. That means in every S or small van, it is 8 each, so 8S. And for every large, it can hold 12, so it should be 12L. I have the total of 144, so the total 144 goes over here. And 8S plus 12L, that is your standard form of equation. I have 2 variables and I have equals to total. So it is AX plus BY equals C. If I have to break it down, this means each small van. This one was each large van. And this was my total number of students. All right, you have these 2 to finish and one at the back. Practice this question on a separate sheet of paper by yourself so that you are good at this. And that's all.